Well, the border and immigration shambles for Labor just got worse, with 4 suspected asylum seekers arriving undetected on Croker Island. That's about 250 k's northeast of Darwin. The opposition leader Peter Dutton says it's a worry.
Well, it's clear that the people smugglers believe that they're back in business. This is now the 23rd boat arrival, and it's another one that's been undetected. Our borders are not secure under the Albanese government. How can a boat make it to the mainland without any detection whatsoever?
Let's bring in Liberal MP for Flinders, Zoe McKenzie. Good to talk to you again, Zoe. Look, this has got to be concern to all Australians. Under this government now, we've seen people delivered to what is effectively the Australian mainland at least 3 or 4 times, something that hadn't happened for 10 years prior.
It is extraordinary, isn't it? So 23 boats, and we only know about this one after those who arrived at Croker Island have been taken off the mainland. So how many do we not know about? The good news is the Indigenous people of Croker Island are on the job. The Department of Home Affairs is not. They found them and they reported them. But frankly, it's no surprise this is happening when the aerial flyovers have decreased by 21% under this government, and indeed 16% less maritime patrol days than at the peak of 2021, which, may I remind you, was also in the middle of COVID, so not necessarily a time when people were getting in boats and trying to make their way to Australia. So really, what an extraordinary failing from the Department of Home Affairs and their hapless ministers. We've had a string of them now. Every day, a new disaster.
Yeah, it's a worry, and this comes while we know that the criminal non-citizens have been freed from immigration detention and they can't now be subjected to curfews or ankle bracelet monitoring. Is there any word on what the government's new legislation, new laws, how they're going to fix this?
Well, not that I've heard today, Chris. This is fairly fresh news. And obviously you've had the leader of the opposition exclusively speaking to Sky, telling the government they need to do a better job. It's Tuesday afternoon. I suspect we won't see what a better job looks like until they rush badly drafted legislation in next week, as they always do, and then find that it doesn't do the job anyway, because that, frankly, has been the record to date. A couple of times we've had to rush back to Canberra to pass something urgently, only to find it wasn't urgent, nor was it particularly fit for purpose, nor was it constitutionally sound.
It hasn't worked.
No.
That's the trouble, it hasn't worked. They rushed it through, they said it would fix the problem, and now we've got this problem again. Now, you've got a lot of experience in international negotiations, diplomacy, trade negotiations. Is it tenable for Kevin Rudd to stay as ambassador? Surely the best thing for the country is to have someone else there.
Poor Kevin. I can't believe it took him until after the election to delete all of his tweets. That seems to be incredibly unwise. So, look, I suspect he's working very hard over there, but he's got a lot of ground to travel. Trump is very much a trust man. He likes to look his interlocutors in the eyes and know where they stand, and that they will judge fairly his policy agenda. It doesn't sound, on the basis of those tweets now all deleted, that Rudd does come to it with his best bona fides on his sleeves. So we will see how that goes. It was a really difficult time when Joe Hockey had to go into bat for Australian steel and aluminium. We did well out of those negotiations, but they were intense and they were difficult. It requires a deft and trusted partner in that ambassadorial chair.
Now, just briefly, please tell me the coalition is going to go hard and strong against a net zero strategy for our defence forces.
I read that today and just thought, you are kidding me, right? So we don't have enough ADF and Home Affairs personnel in the seas and in the airs over our northern borders. We don't have enough people signing up to be recruits, but that's okay because we're going to fix the ADF needs by requiring them to rely on wind and solar and renewable fuel for planes, which, by the way, doesn't
exist.
Aviation industry. We don't even have non-flammable fuels for planes does actually exist, so that if there is an accident, they don't burst into flames. But we don't do that either. So it's just a crazy suggestion from a group of people who've already, may I say, slashed $80 billion from the future funding of the Defence Force. Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
No, sorry, I'm just rushing you up. I've got to move on to the next piece, but you're spot on. Spot on. It's such a worry. Thanks for joining us, Zoe. I appreciate it.